Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the OSL round of 36. This is Matt. I'm here with my brother, the Steve, the Mac guy. That's right, we are here today to bring you guys a very special game between Hyuk and Pure. I've been hearing some things about Hyuk. Hyuk has possibly been winning some games. Steve, what do you have to say about that?
Well, just to mention real quick, this is the OSL round of 36, Group K. We won't spoil the results of Groups I or J. We haven't seen those yet either, so you won't be spoiled. But I do want to say something about Hyuk and his recent win streak. I'm possibly...
We're talking. I'm going to pull that back real quick. Go ahead.
Well, I'm possibly going to jump on the Hyuk bandwagon here. Here's why. Okay, since July 1st, he has been on a tear. He's been 27-6, 27 wins, 6 losses. That's 82%. For you, those of you who don't have a calculator ready, and that is ridiculous. So Hyuk has been tearing it up more. And why? Why has Hyuk been tearing it up? Well, let's reference a picture. I saw this recently, Jaedong versus Hyuk game, which I'm sorry if you're spoiled, but Hyuk beat Jaedong. What do we have here that Hyuk is wearing? It is the Ring of Power. The One Ring. Do you guys see this?
What?
So it is true.
Yes.
Ridiculous. The Ring of Power is falling into Hyuk's hands.
It has.
I don't know how, but it is the only thing that makes sense. Clearly, look at that. He's wearing it while he beats Jaedong. You can see Jaedong's face of disgust after losing to Hyuk. Shortly after this, Hyuk won a game against Effort as well. So Hyuk is taking down some of the best Zerg vs. Zerg players in the world right now. And his Zerg vs. Zerg actually, statistically, is about 57%. Which I gotta say, you know, a lot of Team Liquid stats, which is what most commentators go off and what we go off, a lot of it is kind of goofed up because they don't count, like, preliminary rounds and things like that, like the OSL prelims. They don't count any of that. So, but, you know, those are still against pro gamers. You know, they're not the best pro gamers, but the fact that Hyuk, if you count all those games, I counted all those games, if you count all those games, he is, well, I just said it like 3 times. Count all those games.
If you count
all those games,
many times,
like I did, he's 27-6, and this has been going on since July, so, like, a lot of us haven't been realizing how dominant Hyuk has been, how ridiculous of a change he has made in this game. So Hyuk has been on a huge win streak. Go look it up for yourself. You know, I'm not making it up. They speak for themselves. So that is ridiculous. So partially, though, probably because he's wearing the Ring of Power. I mean, you got Flash, who is a cyborg. You know, you got a lot of people that have weird...
Special
cheating
quirks.
Abilities, and I gotta say Hyuk is probably that ring, so we'll see. If you saw earlier, Hyuk was wearing that ring, so we'll see if it helps in this game.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's interesting because in listening to Cholera, he said that being Hyuked should possibly have a new name, which is getting pwned if you Hyuk somebody, because that is really what he's doing. And for those that haven't seen the Hyuk versus Jaedong game, even if we spoiled the results for you, I still would recommend you check it out, because Hyuk beat Jaedong fair and square. There was no build order loss. There was no cheese. He made a bunch of Mutalisks. Jaedong made a bunch of Mutalisks. They didn't attack each other for about a minute or so, and then they went in attack. And Hyuk's Mutalisk micro was superior to Jaedong's, at least in this game. And then... there was also a game then after that that Cholera actually casted, where Hyuk went on to play Effort, and Hyuk beat Effort as well. So probably arguably the 2 best Zerg players, at least in this point in the game right now, getting beat by Hyuk. So very impressive stuff. I'm impressed with Hyuk, even if he has a terrible name that I don't like to say. He has Yuck in his name. So that's all I got to say there.
Well, when we say all that to say this, this is Hyuk versus Pure, just to remind you guys. Pure is the Protoss player, of course, down in the bottom left. Hyuk is here on the bottom right. He has Fast Expanded, which is very standard against Protoss. So,
Protoss is doing
and it looks like Protoss is also Fast Expanding. But the reason we mention all that is just to basically... you know, keep in your minds what Hyuk's accomplishments have been, you know, going into this game. Basically, you gotta put it in a frame of reference of how well he's been doing. So that said, I wouldn't be surprised at all if Pure were to take this series off of Hyuk. It is a best of 3 series.
Right.
So I wouldn't be surprised, because Pure is a pretty strong player. He's shown that he can beat a lot of really good players. Overall, his statistics are about 50%, a little less in each matchup. So he's certainly, you know, not like a top player or anything like that, maybe like a B-class player. But the fact that he's made it through all the prelims too to get to this point is pretty impressive for any player. So
Right.
Hyuk made it through all the prelims, and so did Pure. So anything can happen in this matchup. Typically, I would say it's a pretty even matchup, but the way Hyuk has been playing, I honestly expect Hyuk to make it out of this group. And just so you guys know, with this group, the winner of this group, or the winner of this best of 3 between Pure and Hyuk, is going to play Lita. So that's another challenging player who hasn't really been on his game quite as much lately, but it's still going to definitely be a challenge for the winner of this match.
We'll hope Lita decides not to go with a Wraith build because he tends to suck with Wraith builds, as we've seen in the past. I don't want to spoil any past games. Well, actually, I don't really care about spoiling
that's
past
not really
games.
true to him. He's tend to be very well with Wraith builds.
So he is one of the people who has been really good with Wraith builds, but they've been getting countered hardcore. And with Lita, he ends up with a lot of Wraiths in the mid game, but then not really much to do with them. But he does. Lita has some of the best Wraith micro of any Terran player, so I don't want to dog him down. But he has been in a quote unquote slump, as we like to say recently. Not to say he's been playing bad, but we'll see what happens with this. Personally, I'm hoping for Hyuk because I am a Zerg player. I know Steve is a Protoss player, so he might be going more towards Pure getting a win. But you're right. I mean, this is not a map that's shown a lot of favor, just as far as to either way, to Protoss or to Zerg. Of course, right now, Zerg smartly is matching, getting the third base up, so that way he can match the economy of the Protoss. So Hyuk's playing well. A nice, simple, not overexpended front door there by Pure, who is getting a Zealot out right now. Pretty standard timing for everything. There's not really much different going on right now. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. We should mention the map. This is Eye of the Storm. So we have 2 new OSL maps, Eye of the Storm and El Nino in the OSL, and also Heartbreak Ridge. So those are the 3 maps that you're going to see over and over and over again, just like last time how we saw Outsider constantly and stuff like that.
Right.
And El Nino is just kind of like another Outsider. So there you go. But it looks a little better. At least it's not the Ash Tile set, so that's kind of nice.
Yeah, doesn't look like Ash.
But yeah, this is Eye of the Storm, and I think this is going to be a pretty good Protoss map because there is a pretty good choke they're able to wall off, and it looks like still of Doom going up as well as a Stargate. So very, very standard opening by Pure. This is the standard against Zerg. He's also upgrading his +1 in his Forge, and it looks like that Hyuk is going for the kind of mass hatchery. Basically, it's 3 hatch opening, probably going to get a Spire to fend off Corsairs with Scourge, and then maybe go mass Hydras or something like that. There is the first Corsair going across. Overlords are actually hiding so they don't get killed or just off in another place. And Pure's going to get that scout in and pretty much see that Hyuk's just playing standard. So it's a pretty big map. It's a 4-player map.